Wendy could tell that something was off when the older man and the girl stepped in. A look of desperation painted the man's face. There was also something sorrowful about how the little girl clung to his hand. Instinct told Wendy to keep her eyes peeled. She couldn't put her finger on it, but something about those two made her feel very uneasy. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Chen Wenwan was born to a Thai dad and Chinese mother in Beijing, China. At the age of 3, her family relocated to Bangkok. Although the abrupt change was jarring for little Wenwan, she quickly acclimated to her new environment. As Wenwan, or Wendy as her friends called her, grew, she showed a fantastic knack for art. Although she decided to pursue an art career, she soon learned that it wouldn't be that simple. Wendy's exceptional talent in art was known all over her neighborhood, her school included. Her teachers encouraged her to continue honing her skills, instilling in her the importance of hard work. As she got older, her eyes set on Po Chan Academy of Arts in Ratnakasin, the most prestigious art school in Bangkok. Unfortunately, the fee needed to attend such a school was way past her family's reach. Although the reality of her situation had sunk into her mind, Wendy didn't stop perfecting her art. Achieving her dreams was still among her top priorities, and she would do anything to see them through. With the help of her favorite art teacher, Wendy secured a partial scholarship after graduating high school. The scholarship covered most of her tuition fees, while her parents helped her with the remaining bills. The only thing Wendy needed now was to cover a small portion as she worked to make her dreams a reality. Wendy set out to find a part-time job. After a lengthy search, she found a job as a waitress. She divided her time between art school and working part-time, finding the perfect balance. Although keeping the candle burning on both ends was sometimes overwhelming, she didn't keel under pressure. She was determined to achieve her dream and would stop at nothing no matter how challenging it got. Wendy worked at a restaurant called Shabu Shabu, which served several Asian cuisines. She enjoyed working there, mainly because the place was a melting pot of many families from all walks of life. Working at the restaurant made her as eye-opening as being a student at the Po Chan Academy. But one day, something would happen that would affect her profoundly. That fateful day started as any other. It was a bright Saturday morning, and the restaurant was still empty. Wendy was helping her fellow staff set tables and chairs, excited to see what the day would bring. She'd expected to meet more interesting customers, as had been the norm since she started working. But that day a man and a little girl would walk in. Wendy was the first to see them. As she tried to find them a seat, she noticed something was definitely odd. Wendy noticed a striking contrast between the man and the little girl. While he was dressed shoddily with messy hair and grease-stained arms, the little girl was clean. Her hair was neatly cut just, and her clothes were pristine. But despite the glaring difference, the girl clung to the man's hand, looking around timidly as he led her across the restaurant. Wendy's experience since moving to Bangkok had been a positive one. However, that didn't mean she wasn't always alert. Cities are bad places for kids to get lost, and Bangkok was no exception. Wendy trained her eyes on the two customers with this thought in mind. She was keen to uncover what was happening between them. The rest of the staff were still busy setting up the restaurant, so Wendy attended to the customers. Her concern grew the more she hovered near them. The child was still clinging onto the man, this time holding on to the hem of his coat. The man refused to let Wendy seat them. Instead, he chose a booth in the most secluded section of the restaurant. Wendy's brows drew close. The man had chosen a seat where it would be challenging to keep an eye on him. Wendy offered to get them drinks, but the man just asked her to take the girl's order. The child ordered a kiddie's meal and a milkshake. The man said he wasn't going to have anything and quickly looked away. As Wendy walked toward the kitchen, she heard the child speaking in an animated voice while the man tried to speak in hushed tones to keep her quiet. Staying close to try and listen better, Wendy was distraught by what she heard. Wendy immediately felt guilty about her initial judgments and was heartbroken by what she heard. The man was actually the little girl's father, and it was her birthday. Unfortunately, it seemed the man only had enough money to buy a meal for her and not himself. Now the child was refusing to eat unless he ate too. His hushed tone and attempts to keep her quiet were due to him feeling ashamed about not having enough money for them to both eat. Speaking to a colleague about them, Wendy learned even more. The man was known in the area. He was a single dad, desperately poor, and worked part-time as a mechanic whenever he could find work. He had been seen working late the day before and again that morning when he took the child into a clothing store to buy her a new outfit for her birthday. Suddenly, the man's grease stains and shabby appearance in comparison to his daughter's well-cared-for look made more sense. Now that she knew the full story, Wendy was deeply touched. She immediately knew she had to do something. Speaking to her boss, she begged him to help and even offered to pay for an extra meal for the father herself. Her boss was also moved when he heard the story. He decided to go the extra mile and put together something special for the father and daughter. In the end, the selfless father and his loving daughter were given 2 free meals. In addition, Wendy's boss had the chefs bake a birthday cake and a small party was held at Shabu Shabu for the little girl. The amazing father's story soon went viral and touched people the world over. This amazing story proved that no matter how difficult the circumstances, there were never any barriers strong enough to change a father's love for his daughter.